I'm back with more thoughts on trying to navigate building a career that you actually want and like, and knowing very little about how to actually get there. I was talking to a friend of mine about a book that I read in middle school, I want to say, when we were reading the Odyssey. Our English teacher had us read Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces. If you're not familiar, I'm pretty sure there is a documentary about it. I've never seen the documentary, so I can't attest to its quality, but I remember the book being really fantastic and impactful and kind of introduced me to the world of nonfiction books, and I have since loved reading them. But Joseph Campbell wrote about what he describes as this monomyth of the hero's journey. And it's what you see very clearly in the Odyssey, but basically all of modern storytelling uses that same framework of a call to action, sending a hero on an adventure, crossing a threshold from normal life into some like supernatural adventure. There are challenges and temptations, and then they land in the worst possible state, rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, and that causes revelation and rebirth. And then there's more transformation. I think there's like 17 stages or maybe 12. I don't know. It's been a while since I read the book, but blah, blah, blah. After much resistance, they've returned to the normal world a hero. And I think it's really tempting to superimpose that idea onto our own lives. It's the expression, be the main character of your own story. We are, in a sense, the hero of our own story. But that framework is a really simplified description of what your story is going to be. And maybe I'm saying that just because I'm in the abyss portion and everything around is like, where am I? What am I doing? What's happening? And I'm about to have a transformation. Maybe that's it. But I don't think it's that simple. I actually think on our journey, there are a lot more just straight up left turns that we kind of wish we hadn't taken, but we had to take because such is life. And the reason I think this is relevant in the professional sense is whenever you go into an interview, you are being asked to explain the story of your life that led you there, to explain why that job is the best next step in your journey. And that feels impossible to me right now. As someone who loves reading stories and writing stories, I feel like I'm pretty good at turning something into a narrative, at turning something into a story. Right now, it's feeling very disingenuous. Postmodern writers took this linear concept of a hero's journey and inverted it and suggested that actually truth is much more disjointed than that. It isn't linear. All we can do is find these episodic moments of meaning. It's not going to tell some grand narrative. And I increasingly feel much more aligned with that postmodern concept of your existence, but you can't exactly hop into an interview and have them be like, oh, so tell me about yourself. And you're like, well, actually, I subscribe to the postmodern idea that nothing that I did before actually makes sense to why I'm here now. Because that's hard for a stranger to wrap their minds around. But when you're in a situation like the one that I find myself in, where I don't want to take a neat step forward, I don't even want to take a neat step sideways. I want to apparate from where I am to a completely different place. And when that is the case, you can't really use your story to neatly launch you from where you are to where you're going because you don't want to be where you are. I think I have a lot more of an investigation to do to figure out how exactly I can apparate to a completely different career. But in the meantime, I think one of the things I am telling myself is that in order to make a more drastic change professionally, I'm going to need to be creative. I'm going to need to blow up whatever preconceived notions I have about a linear journey to get anywhere. And in order to do that, I am encouraging brainstorming and any manner of things. So if you have any recommendations, please hit me up. One of the things I did this week alongside my husband is had something that we deemed the breakfast meeting. And the breakfast meeting entailed both of us going to a chic little coffee shop, but that was very far away from our house, like not a normal place that we go. We'd never been there before. We drove like 30 minutes out to this coffee shop and we had a brainstorming session together. I'm going to show you the agenda. We swapped out the journaling warm-up for reading. Neither one of us felt like journaling, so we just read. Kyle was reading Ernest Hemingway, and I was reading the latest issue of the New York Review of Books. The first part is we both made a list of whose life we want, anyone in the whole wide world, and as many people as we wanted. We made a list of all these different people, and then we looked at what they have in common. We set a timer for these exercises between like 15 and 20 minutes because I think you can get a little bit burnt out. And the whole idea of creativity and brainstorming is not to over edit yourself. So doing it in kind of quick bursts, I think helps to prevent overthinking. We went through and we figured out the first people that came to our head and what they all had in common and what that might say about what we are looking for in our lives. And we just did that for ourselves, but then we shared afterwards. We like kind of debriefed with each other afterwards. Who were your people and what do you think they have in common? And here were my people and here's what I think they have in common. Then we needed another coffee. So we got another coffee and then we went into the next part, which was SML, small, medium, large. And this one, we actually started by doing it for the other person because already by the end of that first exercise, we were kind of sick of thinking about ourselves. So we started with the other person. So I came up with ideas of things that he could do in his life that are only small changes from what he is currently doing, then medium changes, and then large changes. So like off the wall ideas, but still ones that I thought would speak to him. And he would do the same for me. This is all very subjective and similarly rapid fire, but the small ideas were things like, in his case, revive his Substack, or for me, send my resume to this interior design shop that is down the street. And then a medium idea was something like go on a trip somewhere and give yourself these goals and see how far you get. And then a large idea was like move to Europe, or for Kyle, one of them was like remodel a surf van. So like big ideas. And then we switched and we did it for ourselves. Following all of that, we went to a bar and we had a beer, we ate wings, and we relaxed because our brains were actually sore from thinking such wild thoughts. Yeah, hope is exhausting. But I will say that at the end of the exercise, I did feel excited. I felt like, one, I had a partner in this, that I wasn't totally alone, and two, that the small ideas felt less difficult and the big ideas also felt less difficult. If both of those things can be true at the same time, I felt like, oh, I could do these small things, especially in light of the large things. But then also looking at the large things, because we said them out loud to each other and we kind of big upped one another, it felt like, oh, what if we did do that? Like, what if? I think this is the recurring theme with these YouTube videos is, do I now feel different? No. Am I new? Do I have a new job? Is the dark abyss suddenly gaining some light? Not yet. We're just bopping through, but it's something. It's definitely something. The other thing that I think makes the breakfast meeting a really good idea for anyone in a similar situation is it's a reminder that your life is now. And even when, not to sound like Eckhart Tolle, but Tolle, am I saying that right? Not to sound like him, but your life is now. And you can't wait until you have the job that you like or the life that you want to have to enjoy it. And going to this fun little coffee shop and hanging out with my husband is a memory that I have made and will always have. And I will look back on this time fondly, even though it often feels filled with angst and strife. Okay, I got a wonderful, very sweet comment from someone on the excerpt of this that I left on TikTok, who recommended Man's Search for Meaning. I had already read it in college, but I can think of no better time to reread it than right now. So I think he's right. I think I'm going to add that to my agenda for next week. What else am I going to do? Keep procrastinating, reaching out to that interior design store owner who lives near me. And I don't know why. I don't know why I'm procrastinating that so much. It feels kind of scary to talk to her. I'm going to try to give that a go again. Maybe work on another Substack. That doesn't feel like enough. That doesn't feel like it's going to get me anywhere. But I'm going to resist the urge to preemptively discount those efforts, and I'm going to give them a go anyway. I hope this is helpful. And I say that to myself just as much as I say that to you. Like, I hope this is helpful to me one day, and I hope this is helpful to you right now.